guys, welcome back to the Study Survival podcast with study tricks, tips, and study hacks that stick.
They do stick. They do.
How are you doing today, Alan?
I am good. I'm really good. Cannot wait for today's episode where we're going to be talking about mark scheme, but there's also other things to look at. Yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Fantastic. I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Not too bad, a little bit ill, but equally as exciting.
I have been told that I am exceptionally selfish and only care about how I am doing. So I'm sorry, Will. How are you?
Those are the things I say behind your back.
Yeah. Let me tell you what people say in front of my face. That's terrible.
No, I'm doing very well.
You are.
I'm excited. It's like we've still got this new structure going. We're going to talk about we've got like a quick study snippet. We've got an outrageous
it's crazy.
Just crazy thing
Yes.
that you're going to bring. And then, talking about mark schemes. I'm excited.
Nice one. For those of you who were here last time, our outrageous comments were so outrageous, we renamed that section as the section that disappoints Will the most. What can we say to make Will the most disappointed? And I think we're going to disappoint you even more today, Will.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Anyway, should we get stuck in?
What's our study snippet for this week?
Yes. So for this week, literally, if there is one thing you'd need to remember from a study session, it is the 3-2-1 technique. 3-2-1 technique. Now, the 3-2-1 technique is really easy. The first thing is recall 3 things that you learned from the previous week. That might be in school, it might be in a tutoring session, whatever. Maybe it was your own revision. Recall 3 of those things. And think of 2 ways in which the examiner might want you to answer any one of those particular topics.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe we'll list out 3 things you remember.
Yes.
And then you're going to go over those 3 things. What are 2 things that examiners might want?
Exactly. It might be a describe, it might be an explain, it might be a suggest, because examiners love to ask these types of questions. What are 2 ways in which they like to do? Yes, exactly. So you've got to think of 2 ways in which examiners might want you to answer that.
So that's 3, 2.
Yeah.
What about the 1?
The 1 is, what is one mistake that you have to avoid?
Okay.
Because what tends to happen is people think that they understand a topic, and there is typically within every 6 marker, there's 1 mark that people miss out on because they make a mistake. Last time we spoke about osmosis, I'm going to use osmosis as another example. Literally, people might say that osmosis is the movement of particles from a high to a low concentration, but that's not true. The mistake in that particular topic is it's about water and it's about going through a semi-permeable membrane. So 3 key topics that you're going to recall from last week, 2 ways in which examiners might expect you to answer it, and 1 mistake that you better avoid for that particular topic. Spending, 10 minutes maybe? Spending 10 minutes, that's a load of marks right there in front of you by doing that. Yeah.
Amazing. It's time for our outrageous, funny, and out-of-pocket things that students say.
So outrageous, so funny, and so out-of-pocket thing that these students say.
Hit me with it, Arnold.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I am so set up for falling. This is unbelievable. All right, let's take a look at some of these outrageous things that people have been saying. I revised osmosis by drinking 3 liters of water. It didn't help. That's what one student had said, and it's not going to help at all.
It won't help.
Will, why do you think it won't help?
Well, I tend to drink 3 liters of water just to see what happens.
Yes.
Just in general. But I don't know, maybe it won't give you that exam answer
It does nothing.
that you want.
I don't know why any student would ever do that. That is the most ridiculous thing you could ever do.
Drink 3 liters of water just before you go into your exam.
That's actually perfect.
Perfect advice.
Perfect advice.
Amazing.
3 specifically. It's got to be 3 liters specifically. Great.
Is there another out?
There is another out of pocket.
Oh,
Okay, well, to be fair, this one isn't actually out of pocket, but it was something that I read and I thought that is silly. I have to talk about this. Somebody said that they left a bunch of 6 markers blank so that they had enough time to check at the end.
Nice. I've used that technique before.
Dude, have you?
It doesn't get you the most marks.
No, it doesn't help. Don't do it.
It saves a lot of time though.
Yes, it's true. It saves a lot of time, but you minimize the amount of marks that you get from it.
That's the point.
Don't do that. Just fill in as many questions, as many marks as you can in the whole paper. It's really, really important. And the more you practice exam questions beforehand, the better you will be in the real exam.
That's absolutely right. I mean, even if you don't know the specific answer to that question, just list out the things you know about whatever that topic
Yes.
is, just in case you hit those mark scheme. What's in the mark scheme?
Truth is, well, you can't lose marks. So just write stuff. Don't leave it blank because you might actually get some marks from that anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And obviously, angles that are smaller than a right angle are acute, and so you must complement them accordingly as well. So we're going to talk about.
That was so lame.
I really tried to fit it in there. Just from way back.
Wow.
There was no chance.
Wow. Okay.
We'll move on.
Let's do that. Let's go. What's next?
Let's get into the meat of today's podcast episode.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about how to practice exam questions and really understand the mark scheme, right?
Yes.
So what's so important about the mark scheme? I've just done my mock exam. I'm done. I revised, I did it, I got my mark back. I don't want to think about that at all.
Yes.
Why do I need to go through this?
Oh, man, it's so, so important. Have you ever played the game Herd Mentality?
No.
Okay, right. Long story short, a group of people get together and you're given a prompt. Let's say, for example, what is the best takeaway fast food restaurant? You don't write what you think is the best answer. You write what you think everyone in the group is, the majority of the people in the group are going to say. And when it comes to the mark scheme, it's kind of like that. You've got to get into the mindset of the examiner as opposed to just fully understand the content. Obviously, you need to know the content, but you've got to know the content from the perspective of what is the examiner looking for you. And the mark scheme is just bits of gold everywhere in every place to be able to help you answer questions that is examiner specific. Yeah.
Wow, so you can write the correct answer and not get any of the marks sometimes.
Oh, a lot. It is infuriating.
It does answer the question and is correct.
Yeah.
But that's not in the mark scheme, so you don't get the marks.
No. And the reason is probably one of two reasons. The first one is the student, I did this, right? I didn't actually put in the right keywords that the question was wanting me to do. Secondly, I didn't actually fully read the question. This happens so often whenever I am tutoring. The student will answer the question. I say, look, that's a great answer, but that's not what the question was actually stating. You've not answered the question at all, and it's important to be able to know what the mark scheme is looking for. So we're going to look at some hacks today, just understanding exactly what it is the mark scheme is looking at, or specifically what the mark scheme is looking for, and that will allow that student to be able to move forward.
Amazing.
Let's do it. We are going to start off with command words from the mark scheme. What do they actually mean when they say this? These, by just understanding literally some of these phrases, you're going to unpick the entirety of that full question and know exactly the direction, the pinpoint focus that you need to give in that.
So questions might start with describe or explain.
Exactly.
We're going to say, okay, if this is describe, write this.
Yes, perfect. Right. If an exam question says state and identify, you need to give short bursts of facts, and you need to normally assess the diagram that is probably put in that question beforehand. So burst of facts and look at that diagram and just say what you can see in that particular diagram.
That's really good. And usually they want the same information.
Yes, yes.
So if you've been going over past papers, you'll be like, I know they want me to say Newton's first
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. And it's normally probably about 5 words max that you need to put into that place when it says state or identify. Next is describe. This is where people get confused between explain and describe. Describe is literally talking about the how. Explain is talking about the why. So when we're talking about describe, what they're actually saying is literally just state the steps that occur within that particular topic. So let me give an example in chemistry. We're looking at ionic bonding, and it might ask you the question, describe the process of ionic bonding. And essentially, all you've got to do is just state what is happening. You don't even need to think, how is this relevant or applicable in this particular area? It's just describe it. Essentially, ionic bonding is when an atom becomes an ion by losing or gaining an electron. It becomes positively charged, and it becomes attracted to something that is negatively charged, and the two form a bond of two electrostatically attracted molecules, atoms, ions, etc. Okay, great, boom, describe. Now you've got explain. Explaining is why did this happen? Why has this particular thing happened? So one example might be salt, sodium chloride, has a high melting point. Explain why that's the case. So now what you need to do is you've got to apply the knowledge that you've gained and put it into that particular situation. So you would say something along the lines of it has a high melting point because of the fact that it has strong ionic bonds, electrostatic attraction between two ions. Explain is all about the why. Describe is all about the how. How does this thing happen? Why does this thing happen? Those are two different ways in which you can understand particular questions.
Awesome. That's really helpful. What about the compare questions? Like, will those tend to be longer questions, shorter questions?
Right. This is a very common mistake that people make when it comes to compare. Compare, you have to talk about the two different things that are there. So when it comes to compare, normally a person gives a really good answer about one of those two things. And they'll say this about that one thing. And they completely miss out the other one and they lose marks. Compare is all about saying this about this one thing. In contrast, this about the other thing. And if you mention both of those things, even if you mention less stuff about both of them, you're probably more likely to get the full marks than if you went in on that one particular thing.
Yeah, in the mark scheme, there'll even be a section for that first thing and then a section for that other thing.
Yes.
And you'll only be able to get marks, half the marks for one of the thing and half the marks for the other thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So compare is so important.
Right, what about evaluate?
Oh my goodness.
Assess?
Oh.
Are these really long questions now? Oh no, I hated these.
Yes. Evaluate and assess.
Yeah. And do you need to put them in full sentences? Because often the mark scheme is just statements.
Yes. That's right. So, do you need to use full sentences when answering any particular question? No. You can just use bullet points. The thing is, you've just got to make those bullet points very clear.
Yes.
Make them clear, but you can use bullet points. No one's going to mark you down because of it.
Yeah, they're not going to evaluate your grammar,
No.
your sentence structures.
Yes. Just do bullet points. No one cares.
Amazing.
It's all good.
They're just trying to get knowledge out of you, right?
Yes.
All you got to do is put that knowledge down.
Yes. Evaluate and analyze questions. Those ones, I'll be honest, tend to be the higher mark questions, and they will be talking about you have a piece of data and you need to apply all the knowledge that you've gained about that topic, your ability to assess the data that's in front of you, and come up with a conclusion. So evaluate is literally trying to bring in all the knowledge that you've gained from the topic that you've been studying, as well as assessing that particular data that you have and coming up with a conclusion that is full of evidence. So based on the knowledge that I have, I think this, and that is true because the data tells me this. That's essentially what you've got to be saying in your exam. I think this, and that's true because the data tells me this.
People need to do a lot of practice, don't they?
Practice is so important. Yes.
Questions.
Yeah.
Again, that's why we send you exam questions
Come on.
Do them in evening classes.
Yes.
Showing you how the marks are allocated.
It's very true. Practice is so important, and people think that they've practiced enough, and they just haven't. You've got to kind of over practice, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, you're almost seeing through the question.
Yes.
What do they just want me to write down?
Yes,
And
exactly.
then you can just recite it.
Yes.
Yeah, really good. So, what are some common ways that students lose marks?
Oh, man. If you're a student listening to this, I do not want you to lose marks. So make sure that you pay attention to this, how to not lose marks. The first way that people tend to lose marks is they put in a lot of knowledge without any judgment, especially when I was talking about the evaluate questions. You've got to be able to put that knowledge and sprinkle in judgment throughout. This is true because the data tells me this. Don't forget to talk about the actual information in front of you within that particular paper.
So, for the longer mark questions,
Yes.
you need to apply your own judgment as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a 6 marker, you're going to get 4 marks tops if you don't have good judgment in there. And you want as many marks as possible in there.
But if it's just a describe or explain like a 4 marker or below, you can just put that.
Just put the knowledge in. It's fine. Yeah. Another way in which people will lose marks, this is the one that makes me the most sad, is they just forget to put in the units. Centimeters, meters, I don't know, miles per hour, all of that. Yeah, just forget.
It'll say in the question as well, add your units.
Yes.
It'll either be next to the little line, there'll be some units there already, or it will say,
Yes.
add your units.
Yes.
And then, yeah, oh my goodness. If the distance is in meters, the units will be in meters. So it'll be meters per second, right?
Yes.
If the question's it says hours as the time, it's going to be something per hour. Right?
Yes.
You can find your units by just. I'm going to get into a physics.
Oh,
lesson
come
now,
on.
right?
Bring it.
If it's meters and seconds, it's going to be meters per second, right? If it's
Yes.
miles and hours, it's going to be miles per hour, and you can apply that to any units.
Yes.
You want.
And you being a maths teacher, this might really grind your gears, is people not putting it to the right significant figures as well. That is so important. They put in like to 4 significant figures when it's asked for 2, or they put it to no significant figures when it's asked for a certain amount, or like not putting it in standard form, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't annoy me because the students don't do it. It annoys me because the marks lost. Like
Yes.
you've got the right answer, you've done the difficult bit.
Yeah.
And you've forgotten. Like I always forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I always made the silly little mistakes. And there's so many marks lost. That frustrates me. Probably more from the examiner. I'm more good at the examiners than I am with the students.
Yeah.
But it's still frustrating.
I hear it. Nice one.
So what are 2 pieces of advice that you give to the parents of GCSE students?
Parents listening to this, one piece of advice that I'd give is coach the progress, not the grade. That goes a much longer way than just looking at the grade. If you're a parent, you want to be thinking long term, not what's happening immediately. So coach the process, not the grade. What that means is ask questions around, so what has your study technique look like? What help do you need to move forward in your learning? Even it might be things like praising. Well done, you actually put in so much effort into that. One thing I'll tell you helped me out so much is when I was younger, I went home one day and I'd actually told my mum that I got a D in my biology exam. And she looked shocked initially, but then she said, "Did you try your best?" And I said, "Genuinely, Mum, I did try my best." And she said, "Well, that's all that matters." And what was crazy for me was that in itself was the motivation to be like, well, I'm going to keep trying my best. And I ended up getting all A's in my biology A level. And I really think that a big part of that was because my mum was coaching the process or the progress as opposed to the actual grade itself.
So your child isn't necessarily getting bad grades because they're not putting the effort in, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So it's about coaching them through the process of how to learn,
Yes.
understanding what's going on.
Think long term. If their immediate grade wasn't what they're capable of, you've don't focus in on that immediate grade. Think about what needs to change in the long term so that their final grade will be good. I got a U in my chemistry mock for A level, and I ended up getting higher than every single person within my class. And the reason why that happened was because my mum helped me not to focus on the particular grade that I got in that moment, but what needs to happen to change, so that I'm not fixated, oh, you got a U, you got a U, you got a U. No, actually, I am an A grade student, so therefore this is what A grade students do. And that shift in mindset really shifted the way in which I approached my studies. And I didn't feel ashamed or condemned because of the fact that I got that bad grade, which would have been demotivating for me.
And that's really awesome. We should talk about mindset in a future
Yes.
episode as well.
Yeah.
It's so important not to give up, or if you don't understand something, to give up in that moment.
Mindset's game changer. Yeah. No, literally.
Anyone who does understand it didn't understand it at one point. That's what learning is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Amazing. Okay, so what about at home? What tips would you give for parents of students who are studying at home? Maybe they want to create the right environment.
Yes, if you are a parent, what you want to do is you want to see yourself as an education partner. Studies have shown that when parents are involved in a partnership level with their children, the children are more likely to succeed. So what that means is understanding how your child best learns and spending 5 to 10 minutes each day approaching the learning in their particular learning style. One classic example that I've seen a few parents do, which is really, really helpful, is they help their children recall. Parents are the ones that actually have the flashcards, and for 10 minutes each day, they will just look at the flashcard and ask their child questions about that particular. The parent doesn't care about it. They don't know about photosynthesis. They don't care. But they partner with the child by just getting them to recall stuff. And the child feels motivated. They feel like they're not alone. They feel like their parent understands how difficult it is, and therefore they keep going.
I love that. That's such a nice way of practically supporting your child.
Yes.
Without, punishing them or condemning them for not knowing things.
Yes.
But that genuinely help them to learn.
I feel like if parents kind of, quote, suffered with the children in the studying, it would make the learning so much easier and reduce the pressure. I'm not saying that parents shouldn't expect high grades for their children, especially if they believe that they're capable of that. But what I'm saying is, we'll suffer with them, right? Don't just tell them to do it and that's it. Go into the suffering with them.
I suppose it's different for every child as well. So every child's different.
Yeah.
My mum just went, well, it's down to you. Off you go.
Yeah.
And I just went off and studied. I think I was relatively self-motivating. But probably if my parents were more involved, I would have had more techniques to be able to study better.
Yeah, sure.
I worked very hard, but I probably missed out in going through mark schemes, checking my work. I would tend to just do the paper and leave it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this kind of stuff is really important, and we have parent webinars where we try to help parents through this kind of stuff, because even for you, allowing the child to independently do their learning is a great thing, but there is a difference between giving them independence and just abdicating completely.
Yeah, sure.
So by asking you questions, how are you getting on with your learning? If you already have that relationship, you probably would have been like, well, it's hard, it's good, and they might have been able to empathize. But there's a time where parents might be abdicating completely that learning and just saying, look, just get the grade. Just get it. I don't care. Just get it. And that in itself isn't necessarily helpful. Parents know their children more than anyone, and I'm just giving a generic sense of advice. But being a partner with your child is so important. And that happens, the best way to do that is 10 minutes after school.
Awesome. I love that. All right. What's our challenge of the week? This is for our podcast listeners. This is your challenge. Should you choose to accept?
Oh, my days. I love it. Should you choose to accept? We are going to be looking at the mark scheme mirror. That is the challenge for this week. So, mark scheme mirror, what actually is a mark scheme mirror? What you need to do is pick 6 or 12 marks, like 2 6-marker questions, and just answer it as you would normally. and then take a look at the mark scheme and literally re-answer that question, but try to mirror exactly word for word what the mark scheme is looking for. Initially, it's going to feel quite tedious, but the more you do it, the next time you're like, I don't even need to look at the mark scheme. I know exactly the type of wording, the type of vernacular I should be using. Vernacular. I have not used that word in a long time.
Good job.
Thank you.
Wow. This is why
It's all that vernacular.
you're here. Vernacular.
Nice.
Spectacular vernacular.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
I can't rhyme with anything else.
So hopefully now you've got everything you need to tackle those pesky mark schemes and get all the marks.
Yes.
Wonderful.